All right, so I am your moderator. I'm Daryl Wood Gerber. I'll say a little bit at the end, but I just want to introduce the ladies, and we're going to have to recognize that if we start going on forever, I'm going to throw dirty looks at you to say you're talking too long. Make sense? Okay.
Why are you looking at me?
No, I was looking past you at Ellen.
I was looking at me.
Also, just a reminder, when we get to the Q&A, if you'll provide a question and not a story of what you're going through, we want to ask questions today and get answers, okay? So I will start right to my left here, first left. Terry Shames is the award-winning author of 11 Samuel Craddock mysteries. Her first book, A Killing at Cotton Hill, won the Macavity Award for Best First Novel and was shortlisted for the Strand Critics Award. The Troubling Death of Maddie Benson, which came out in October 24, was an Amazon editor's pick. The second in Jesse Madison thriller series, Deep Dive, came out July 2. Terry lives in Southern California with her husband. She's moving soon. She just did all this. She has a dog, Monty, and a cat, Max. Next to her is Jeri Westerson. Los Angeles native Jeri Westerson. Are all of you Los Angeles natives?
I'm not. I'm a New Yorker.
Okay.
But an Angelino now.
Okay.
We accept
So
that.
Jeri writes a Tudor mystery series, The King's Fool Mysteries, and a Sherlockian pastiche called An Irregular Detective Mystery Series. She wrote 15 Crispin Guest medieval noir novels, a series nominated 13 times for Industry Mystery Award. She also wrote several paranormal series and standalone historicals, currently 45 published books. She does not sleep. She has served as president of the SoCal chapter of Mystery Writers of America, pres and vice pres for 2 chapters of Sisters in Crime in OC, or Orange County in LA. She's a member of the LA Sherlockian Society and a founding member of the SoCal chapter of the Historical Novel Society. And then Ellen Byron, the chatty one at the end. We're all chatty, just so you know. We are all chatty. I'm just teasing her because
I didn't know I had a reputation for
no, you're a good friend. Ellen Byron is a best-selling author, Anthony nominee, and a recipient of multiple Agatha and Lefty awards for her various humorous sisters series. For humorous series. Do you have any humorous sisters?
I had 2 brothers. Neither
okay, there you go. Neither has sense of humor. A Very Woodsy Murder, the first Golden Motel mystery, is. Who's talking?
No, that was.
Oh, okay. A Very Woodsy, was it mine?
No, I think it's on the.
A Very Woodsy Murder. The first I said that title 3 times. Did you notice that? I pitched it for you. The first Golden Motel mystery is nominated for an Anthony Best Cozy or Humorous Mystery. Hint, hint, voucher con attendees coming up. Solid Gold Murder, the second book in the series, came out on July 29th. She is also an award-winning playwright and non-award-winning writer of TV hits like Wing, Just Shoot Me, and Fairly Odd Parents. But she considers her most impressive achievement working as a cater waiter for Martha Stewart. I'm going to add 2 words, and surviving.
It was early on. She had just started out. And they were actually shooting the book when I worked with her first book, Entertaining. And I loved her. She was great.
That's great. That's great. And I'm Daryl Wood Gerber. I write murders. I write mysteries. I kill people on paper. I write mysteries and suspense. I write the literary dining mysteries and the fairy garden mysteries and the aroma wellness mysteries. So check them out. But I also write suspense, and I'm very excited about that. So we are here for the sizzling summer What If panel. And that means we're going to talk dirt. Okay? What if you have been dropped by your publisher? And wave your hand if you want the mic first. So to explain, what if? Okay, we want to know what authors go through when you're published. What are the hoops and hurdles, right?
Well,
okay, so Jeri.
Go for it.
Yeah, I almost forgot that I was dropped by my first publishers. The first publisher was one of the big 5, or is it the big 4 now, or is it the big 3? Who knows? St. Martin's. I wrote, this was when I was first published, my Crispin Guest medieval noir series, and they published 6 of them, and then they said, okay, we're done. And I said, no, I'm not. So I've got a lot more books in this series to write. So in those days, well, ebooks were just beginning to be burgeoning in the system. And so had it not been for that, that would have been it. Because prior to ebooks and all the digital renaissance, I guess, when your publisher dropped your series, it was done. You wouldn't be writing that anymore. You'd have to start a whole new series somewhere else or with this same publisher, whatever, but it was gone. But because the ebook sales were still creeping along, that's my agent and I talked about it. We said, there's still life in this series. We're gonna find another publisher. And we did. We found a nice UK publisher that picked up the rest of the series and the rest of some of my other series as well. So there is now life after that.
Do
Somewhat.
you want to take it, Terry?
Sure.
You, and then I'll take it after. Oh, she handed it to me.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
The 5.
I know. I had a similar experience with one of my series. It was actually a big 5, and yay, the big 5, so you think. And then you find things out like, hey, this is happening. I got a nomination. Could you guys maybe make me a graphic? And they're like, well, we have to go to it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks. And by the time they were done telling me, I'd made my own. And I actually caught them lying to me before the book even came out. I'm not going to say it's a long story, but that did not bode well. But what happened is, and Terry is with Severn House too, there's a British publisher that in the last couple of years has had their eye on series by authors who have good library sales. And you get good library sales when your book comes out in hardcover, which my first series, The Cajun Country Mysteries, did. And at first I was like, hardcover, who's going to buy a cozy hardcover? Libraries do. And God bless them for it, because it gives you sales nowadays a lot. You'll see a lot more, even the cozies coming out in hardcover, because now step one for publishers is selling to libraries. And then they'll bring out a trade. Now mass market is going away. They're bringing out trade publication editions. So luckily, Severn House picked up the series, and so I just signed a deal with two more, which will leave it at least 6, and I'm hoping I'll get a few more from them.
I wasn't dropped. Everybody at our company was dropped. I was with 7th Street Books and really, really happy there. They put out what I thought was a gorgeous book. They had the best editing. It was just, I was on cloud 9. I was always very happy with what we did. And suddenly in 2018, they decided to sell the company to something called Start Media. And if you get a chance to go with them, don't. We saw their books and I said, these books are awful. They're not produced well. They don't look good. They have some really good authors. So, you know, that's fine. We were all shocked. It happened overnight. They didn't tell us anything in advance. We all just got a letter saying it's been sold. The new owner did not welcome us. He didn't say anything to us. We were not written to, nothing. And honestly, I felt like we'd been put out in the cold, and everyone did. Everyone who was with 7th Street felt really awful. I was one of the few that got asked to have another contract with them, and I declined. And although Severn House was picking up books, my current agent at that time said she didn't want me to go with them because, quote, that's where books go to die. And so she wouldn't do it. So I fired her and got my current agent, who loves Severn House, and I've been with them ever since, and I'm very happy with them. So that's my story.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
What I want to add is that, you know, the Big 5 is still putting out the first 2 books in my series, and they still sell, and I get more royalties on them than some of my current series.
Wow.
So at least at this point, because they're, you know, it takes a while to get the mojo going for a new series. So, and my agent says they just pull the trigger too fast.
So it's like you get $10 instead of 5, right?
Well, Jim, wait, was it, James Siskin at the best line, he said, and I'm not talking into, you know, using my theater voice. He said, when you write mysteries, the money rolls in the tens of dollars.
Everybody here was Severin House, because that was mine.
Well, okay, so I have one book with Severin House,
Okay.
and it didn't meet it was a suspense, and it did not meet the level at libraries that they wanted. And so they didn't say, yes, like, right a second, we love you, we love your book, we love how it turned out, but
Yeah.
it didn't meet the numbers, and so therefore, thank you very much.
Mm.
And I'm fine with that, because
Yeah.
I got another deal, so. Okay, so we sort of addressed what if your publisher closes. Have either of you had a publisher close, Jeri, or no?
I'll say not yet.
Not yet,
No.
okay, okay. So what if you disagree with the developmental or copy edit? Some people, have really big problems with this, and I seem to be fine with my copy editors, but I'm pretty good at acquiescing. So, I'll push back when I really want to, but I don't want to cause a lot of waves. I don't like as many commas as they have, or a lack of commas sometimes. So that's my big thing.
I said, oh, what a great question, but I think I'm the one who brought it up. Did you guys?
I will live and die.
Whoop. Nope.
I will live and die with the Oxford comma.
Have you guys seen the YouTube on that?
No.
Look for a YouTube. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the woman that does it, but it is hysterical. I live and die by the Oxford comma. So funny.
Okay, well, I really will. And the first edit I got from my copy editor, all the commas were gone, and I said, no, this will not do. I do the Oxford comma, put them back in, and she said, good, you're done. That's fine.
That's great.
So, I don't know about you
Oh.
guys, but they are terrific.
Oh, Severin is great. Do you have a thought on this? Okay,
I do have a thought.
good. Then
Severin House,
I think it's just in and out.
was great for me until it wasn't. And thankfully, see, all the books I write are based in London, or in historical London, usually. Yeah, all of them. And finally, they granted me permission to have British spelling. Because they were doing
Oh.
British punctuation.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you knock the spelling, and they, come on, let's do the spelling. What, you think Americans won't read it? Come on, all those extra U's and L's, haven't we always wanted to use those? So, yeah, I was very happy with that, but then they didn't want to do the Oxford comma. I said, it's an Oxford comma. Why won't you do it? But, yeah, I still have a little problem with the copy editor sometimes, but, if you give in mostly, then when you really have something that you want, then they listen to that and say, oh, yeah, okay. But if you're constantly, whining at them. But I can talk about my Severin House issues at a later question, I guess.
I generally have had a wonderful experience with developmental edit on every level. And I have not had copy edit problems until recently, and it's not Severin House. It's, I don't know how much I should say, cone of silence. I have a copy editor who I actually think what I'm going to do is ask for someone else, although I also requested that my book be read by someone else, which leads into the conversation we'll have about pick your battles. But if there's a battle to be had and it's important, go for it. And if you have a good agent, they'll back you up. For some reason, this particular copy editor gets, if you pardon my expression, it's my mother's expression, she gets a bug up her ass about something. And recently in my other book, there's an accountant who's desperate for money. And she was like 3 or 4 times in the copy editor, she goes, well, why is he's an accountant? What about a 401k? Why, literally, doesn't he have a 401k? What about his wife's salary? Doesn't he have an investment? Hasn't he saved? Doesn't he have this literally 4 or 5 times. Now, one time I wrote, okay, well, you need a little more justification. I wrote in something that his mother went into assisted. He's in his 70s, but he has a 9-year-old mother. And literally this backstory, she went into assisted living and he has to pay it. It went memory care and it went longer than he thought and used up all their money. More, but really, I mean, doesn't he have an investment plan? She had literally could not conceive that nothing would have made her happy because in her mind, no accountant would ever have financial problems. So I went through something like this with the first book with the same copy editor, so I think I'm gonna put on my big girl pants and ask for a different one. But the other, my one little, which is funny, this is a copy edit thing with British versus America. I use the word brainstorm a couple of times in a recent book, and it came back as brainwave. Like brainwave. So I had to say brainstorm, it's clearly not a British expression. And I don't think brainwave is either,
Yeah,
but I think they thought maybe that's what I was trying to say.
funny.
I write books set in Texas. Can you imagine what they do with that? I did have one editor that I finally complained to my acquiring editor
Yeah.
because I said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
She was it was something so stupid, but here's my favorite one. She changed it. I said, somebody in the book said, do you want to come to my place? And she changed it to, do you want to come to mine? And I said,
What?
No. That is a Britishism. We would say to my place in Texas. So I always have to be really, really careful about that. Another thing they changed is somebody said, well, if they think that, they've got another thing coming. And she changed it to another thing coming.
Yeah.
And I have been hearing that recently, and I'm thinking, what idiots? It's another thing. You think
No,
that's
we
really common?
I've only said another thing coming. I've never, I'm from New York. I'm never wrong.
Zevran House took away all the periods from Mr. and Mrs. and it drove me crazy.
Exactly.
It's like, yes, it's that. That's not how we do it in America. She said, but that's how we do it here.
Think
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Instead of okay.
And then they write a single quotation instead of double
Yes.
quotations for sentences. Oh my gosh, you're reading this saying, it needs to be changed, doesn't it? No, this is how we publish it. It was like,
They
all
are,
these people are gonna think I made mistakes.
they are changing that now.
Yeah.
They're changing.
Yeah, it's obviously British and it's certainly not American, so. Okay, so what if you have problems with your cover art? Now, I am very happy with all my cover artists, so I have no complaints here whatsoever.
I've got the best story ever. Okay, so A Troubling Death
I
by
do.
Maddie Benson came out. And they had this beautiful cover with mountains in the background and saguaro cactus. This is set in Texas. Saguaro cactus are only found in Arizona in the Sonora Desert. And there are no mountains anywhere around where, and I said, it's a beautiful cover, but these two things. And they said, well, nobody's going to notice about the cactus. And we love the cover and the mountains are beautiful. So, and I said, fine, I don't care.
Oh,
First fan letter I get is, oh God, that's a beautiful, beautiful cover, but saguaro cactus are only found. I said that straight to them.
okay. I know you have to do one, but can I do this? Because okay, so I have two, let's see.
It just keeps
It just-
popping in and out.
I have two
There you
cover
go.
stories, and I think the important thing is that you, like I said before, you have to pick your battles. And
Yeah.
one is my very first book, which is called Plantation Shutters, and we talked about the cover, and it's your first book, and I got a sketch, and it was set in a Louisiana small town, and it was a historic house, and the picture was a guy in a fedora from the side in front of a broken shutter. And I was like, what? It made no sense, but and it's your first book. How much do you do? What do you do? I again, a really good agent. I said, help. This is not, he goes, absolutely. And the publisher apologized. He said, you're right. We went in the wrong direction. And then I have my Severn House story. So, because they're in Britain. And so I got a cover for my next book, which is a Christmas book. And it had, a very cool kind of like Christmas tree with Christmas, crime tape on it. That's fine. In the background was beautiful snowy hills, like St. Mary Mead. The book is set in New Orleans. It snows every 100 years, and they literally had to build a hill in Audubon Park so the kids knew what a hill was. So, rolling hills, and I went, no, this doesn't work. And then they were like, and I said, well, I gave them ideas like, wrought iron fence, and they're like, well, if we put the wrought iron, can we keep the snow and hills? I'm like, so they came, wonderful. They're wonderful, wonderful people, but they were in shock when I had a problem with the book. But they came around. The cover's going to be great now. It is great. But again, had to go to bat for it.
Choose your battle.
Yeah, choose your battle. which might be all.
Yeah, this was with St. Martin's, and the book was my medieval noir book, and it was called Bloodlands, and it was all about London Bridge. And I'm gonna have to just, oh, there we go. It was all about London Bridge, and there was a joust on it, and there was all kinds of stuff happening on the bridge. And when I got the first, the look at the cover, Tower Bridge was on it. And I said, oh no, my readers will kill me because I'll think I did this. So Tower Bridge was built in the 19th century. So not the 14th century. So yeah, they were nice enough to take that out, and they actually did an illustration that worked with what London Bridge looked like then. And it was not just a bridge. It's not the one in Arizona either. It was like a whole buildings on it and everything. So they did it right. But, you know, if you just let them go, you will be murdered by your readers. Don't let it go.
Yes,
You know, pick the good fights.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's a good fight.
but what you're saying, and Terry's story is emblematic of it. If you go, oh, whatever, no one will notice. I'm telling you, if it reflects on you,
You'll get
because
emails.
they think, I don't know New Orleans. I don't know that it doesn't have hills and snow. And, you know, we're like that. And so it's and especially covers, I think they're extremely important.
Maybe they should have had saguaro cactuses then.
On the other hand, I complained bitterly about one of my covers with Seventh Street Books. It was the best-selling book I had. I said, no, we love it. It's gonna be great. And they were right.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's a good.
This is not a cover story, but I am going to say something that happened last year when my new series, The Literary Dining Mysteries, came out. The ebook was wrong, and people got it, and the cover was right, and the cast list was in there, and then they turned to the first page, and it was "Fat Girls Don't Dance," and the first word was, and you know, I was on a tour to try to promote the book and everything else, and I called them up and they went, we're so sorry, we'll fix this. So they said it was fixed, and I kept getting messages from all my readers. I've got the wrong book. You didn't write this book. Is that what you wrote? Did you write Fat Girls Don't Dance? And I thought, she's getting all my readers. What's going on here? And it turned out, and they couldn't fix it at Amazon for 3 weeks.
Oh, right.
And I finally realized, because I have a technical computer person's wizard as a sister, that the cookies were stuck in the Kindle. And Amazon had to clear the Kindle completely of that book, because they would send it back out to them saying, oh, it's fixed, and they'd still get the wrong book. So it was.
Can I share one more cover story?
Yeah.
Very, 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 very quick. And this one comes with visual aids. So the first cover, and this is it's fine. It's okay. So the first, if you see my book back there, well, I guess if you see my book back there, A Very Woodsy Murder, you'll see that there's a bear looking in the window, and he's like this. Well, and this is just a small thing. But the original cover, I'm going to have to illustrate. He was looking in the window like this. What does it look like I'm doing? I'm a male bear.
Well, that answers that question about the bear in the window.
So I had to give them a note and say, love it, just one small thing. That's exactly what, and it looks way more like that on the original cover.
Okay, so what if your publisher requires you to do more marketing than you were capable of doing? And publishers really do expect authors to do a lot. Be on Facebook, be on Instagram, pitch. But and they would love it if you do book tours, but they won't give you a dime for them. So what do you do?
I have no idea, because I don't do anything I don't want to do. I just do it, and they seem to be fine with it, whatever
Okay.
it is. I did a lot of self-promotion early on, and I used to, at my expense, do wide-ranging book tours. And I realized you would just go to city after city and do this and that. You might sell one book. I was on a jumbotron in Dallas. I didn't sell any books there. You know, you just you spend a lot of money, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna try not doing it, and then apparently I have not noticed that it makes any difference at all, and my publisher never talks to me about it.
Okay, then.
The answer is they don't do any.
Any.
So they don't print you bookmarks, they don't do anything. Sometimes they'll put you in a group ad in something. An industry magazine, which does you no good because you want it in a consumer magazine where consumers and readers with the money that they want to buy books will see it. So, it's up to you. I basically have always marketed to libraries anyway, because that's a good sale. So I've accumulated, 300 listings of libraries all over the country. And I always send out my own postcard. Now, St. Martin's, if I supply them the postcard, they would pay for the postage. But
Okay.
nobody else does that. So I don't know if they do that anymore, probably not. So I, at my own expense, printing and mailing postcards to libraries all over the country. And the occasional tour, this is part of my book tour, for the misplaced position, I'm gonna put that in there. Yeah, I don't do multi-states anymore. I used to. And yeah, it was a lot of money going out there, but not coming back. And the world is different. My first published book was in 2008. And those kinds of things used to work. But these days it's a whole different ballgame, and everything's digital and everything's online and social media, and you gotta have a bare minimum a website. And I've started blogging again because social media isn't doing the job much anymore these days either.
Okay, I'm the exception here because I spent a ridiculous amount of money on swag. It's stupid. It's like an addiction, and I don't know why. I'm trying to cut back now, but I think I need to go to a 12-step swag meeting because I keep thinking of new ideas and wanting to spend money on them. But you'll see back there, I have a rack where I have recipe cards. I have had postcards. I had a map made of Gold County, the made-up county for my Gold Rush mysteries. I just had one done by someone else, far less expensive, for my New Orleans series. I have a reading list. I have bookmarks that I made incorrectly, but I'm still giving them out because I have no choice.
They won't notice.
No one will notice. And then I do giveaways, and I try to give away less books now because people want so many for free, but I'll give the first book, because that can hopefully inspire people. And one of, Kensington actually is really good about doing stuff. They do cozy cons. If I have they will, they're doing giveaways. Do a giveaway at Voucher Con. They actually come to me and said, hey, Book Soup would like you and Rick Kopp to do a thing. And I'm like, great. They'll reach out, and so I'm very lucky that way. I do every time a book comes out, I do what I call my shameless shilling campaign, because it's hard to sell yourself. And so now I just try to do it with humor. And, people say, oh, I look forward to your campaigns. And I get a little burnt out, especially if I have 2 books coming out. I don't know what the answer is, because I really feel like it does help keep me on the map and put me on the map. But anyone will tell you now that the most important thing is a newsletter. And that is absolutely true. And it's because it's something that you can control and you can own. And everyone who had a presence on X, formerly Twitter, look what happened. Mark Zuckerberg has all kinds of plans for Facebook, and he's psychopathically into AI. And so who knows what that will do to that.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to do Substack because they own your stuff. So I don't want to do that. And I also am not going to charge people to read my newsletter.
Yeah.
I'm not a former New York Times writer. I'm trying to get them to buy my books, not my newsletter. So, I like doing it too much. So that's my particular take on it.
Yeah.
And just one more thing. And I was, before I became a novelist, I was a graphic designer and in advertising, so I could do all of my own graphics, all my own bookmarks and all the ads and things like that. But I love swag too, and I get a lot of that, and in fact, let me plug this. On my table over here to the left, I am, it's a free raffle. If you haven't got a raffle ticket, grab a raffle ticket, put one of them in the little Persian slipper, the Sherlockian Persian slipper, to win a Sherlockian badger, little figurine I sculpted and 3D printed them, so I have a bunch. And and so that's over there to win. It's a very original thing. You can't buy it, you have to win it. So yeah, there was, I mean, I troll the internet for good stuff. For my Crispin Guest novel, I gave away sword pens because he was a former knight.
Oh, that's
And nobody had those, and they always kept asking me whenever I was at someplace, do you have sword pens? Yeah, there's the sword pens, they're all free. So I always have lots of swag, lots of giveaways, and the raffle giveaway stuff. So this is my tour. Come on, come down. On the 16th of August, I'll be online at my YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel as well.
me too.
And that's it'll be a live thing. You can interact and win prizes, and you can not wear pants. Because you'll be at home. I'm not gonna wear pants. But anyway, yeah, lots of stuff.
TMI about the pants.
Yeah, really.
Fair warning.
I wanted to go back to something that you said, though. You said, I'm lucky. You are not lucky. You make your own luck.
That's right.
You
gotta
have,
do it.
I am so impressed with the way Ellen does her promotion, because you do fun things. You, when you started this thing with the cozy writers at
VoucherCon?
VoucherCon, I just thought it was amazing, and people come to that, and your swag, you don't, there's a certain point at which people are pushy, and that's not fit, that's not good, but you're just fun. You engage people and want people to be enjoying it, and that's what I'm thinking when you said I'm lucky. No, you really work hard at it.
Thank you.
Now, the one thing I do say is that some swag I have found really useful, and that is pens. People love to get something with your name on it. And when I still remember the first time I met Hank Philby Ryan, she was passing out lip gloss.
Yeah.
I don't even wear that, but I took one. I can't tell you, every time I looked at it, I'd say, oh yeah, I gotta get her book. That's just, when you do something with your name on it that's useful, it can be very helpful.
Yes, but
Yeah.
not food, because people eat it.
Yeah.
And then they throw
And then it's gone.
Oh,
And then it's gone, that's right. Okay, see ya. Yeah, I used to do conventions a lot, and I would give out jar openers.
yeah.
Because everybody needs a
they're
jar
very
opener or two, and I've got them all over my house. Even my son said, oh yeah, you gave me one, Mom. So, so there are nice things to be able to keep. Can't do this without my notes.
But your publisher's not gonna pay.
But your publisher's not paying for most of those things. I was just recently, they said, we're gonna do a recipe card for you, and it was like,
Wow.
what? I mean, I was shocked, so I'm can't wait to see what it looks like, but they're gonna do a recipe card, so that's great. We're gonna ask one more question in the agents section. And then everybody's gonna just give a sort of tip of what you think your, general thing. What battles do you pick? We went through some of those, and then we're gonna open it to questions. What if your agent only wants to rep one genre of yours? Been there, done that.
My agent wanted me to be his medieval mystery writer. But I wanted to write other things like paranormals and some other historical things, and he just wasn't happy with that. So he pushed that narrative pretty hard, but I'm also pretty stubborn, and I said, nah, I'm gonna write this paranormal, and you can rep it or someone else can. And suddenly it was, oh, all right, well, we'll take a look at that and we'll, do that. So yeah, don't let them do that to you. Because, oh my God, we all have so many books and stories and places to tell our readers about. Don't leave yourself into this little hollow that you're going to, and then because I was writing these different things, then I thought, oh, I'd have to have a website for each of these things. And then that got to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And I had so many blogs and then, oh, I had to cut it all back. But even so, just don't let your agent, this is my fourth agent, by the way. Don't, don't let them put you in a corner. Don't let them.
My agent would love to have me write something different. I wrote one standalone that, hasn't sold yet, so we have that out there, and he loved me, he's dying to have me do like romantic suspense. And I just keep trying, and I keep ending up writing humorous, cozy mysteries, and it seems to be what I do, and I'd like to push the envelope. And he's, okay with it, but he'd make more money, the other way. So, you have to write what you can write. I think that's super important. And hopefully I'll get that brilliant idea he's hoping I get. I feel like I had something else I want to say, but I don't remember, so I'll grab it back.
Yeah.
Well, I had the opposite thing happen. I gave my agent, Perilous Waters, what turned out to be Perilous Waters. I said, this is a standalone that's just a kind of an adventure story. She read it and she said, no, it's not. It's a series and it is a thriller series. So yeah, it is. So I read the second one and now I have to write the third one. So yeah, I mean, she was really on it and I appreciate her for that.
Okay, the one thing I did remember what I wanted to say. The other thing is, and I know people who do this, if you do write something that's completely different, first of all, your readers are if you have set readers who like what you write, they're expecting what you write.
Yes.
So that's can be very difficult. Sometimes what writers do is use a pen name. My friend Leslie Bodowitz also writes some suspense because she writes a lot of cozy stuff, and she writes it under the name Alicia Beckman. I have another friend who recently released a very different type of series in her cozy series, and it's under her name, and her readers are complaining because they expect, I write different cozy series, and I'll always have readers who prefer one over the other, but nothing is a 180 turn from, they're variations on a theme basically. But if you're writing something completely different, no matter how much you tell your fans, they're going to be like, wait, what? This isn't, Harry Smith.
I've had that problem.
Yeah, I have that problem too, because, when people, especially historical readers, maybe, I don't know, they are very specific with the things they like to read. And so the medieval mystery, they loved it. They still love it. It's still selling pretty well. And some came over to the other things I was writing, but some people, they will only buy medieval mysteries. And they will only buy a Tudor mystery. And they will only buy, but they won't buy mine for the other things. So some people came along for the ride and, gave it a try, but not everyone. So I see the problem. But.
I write cross genre. I said at the beginning, I write cozies and I write suspense, and it has been a challenge to get people to understand. I have to explain in my thrillers, there's no bad language as much as I can keep it out. There's not really sex on the page as much as I can keep it out. So my cozy readers should be able to read it. It's just a faster paced, darker story. But it is an education. You have to educate your readers, and you can only do that through your newsletters, through your website. All of us have new websites, okay? And I think we all do newsletters, right?
Yes.
So that's one of the ways to build up your audience a bit.
Occasionally.
So I do a newsletter once a month.
Yep.
Always on the first, always sending it out around the same time so that people can expect it. And I know someone who writes a newsletter every week and I don't read it. It's too much. So I'm just saying, there are some things to do. Do we have time for questions? Yeah. We have some time for questions. Do we have, yes? I have a big one. How, for those of you who have left your agent, how do you know when it's time? Oh, you know when it's time.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, I'll repeat the question. Their question is, for those of us who have left our agents, how do you know when it's time? I just say, when it's time. It's like divorce, it.
It's very hard because you have a relationship with this person and yet they're not doing the kind of job you want them to do. And you don't want to hurt their feelings or get into a bad thing. And the first time I did this, it was very hard. And she said, "You're the first person who's ever fired me." I found out afterwards that wasn't true. But that was okay. And it was hard because I didn't know what was going to happen. And as it turned out, it was a great move for me to do that. But I suffered through 4 books. That this agent, when she first sent my first book out, said, "Okay, they want a book." I said, "How about 2 books?" She said, "Do you have a second book?" I said, "Yeah, I sent it to you." So, you know, that should have been my signal right there, but I was a newbie. So, you know, what did I know? Yeah, so when you know, you know.
Well,
You know, the relationship with your agent, it doesn't have to be, you know, your pals or your friends, you know, you're not inviting them over for Thanksgiving. I mean, you want a collaboration. And I don't care if I ever see my agents in a personal setting. They just gotta do their job and I will do my job. So, like I said, I've had 4 agents. The first one I had for 3 years and she just couldn't sell any of my books. And we left amicably. It was a nice partnership over time and I was afraid to leave her because, you know, landing an agent way back then was not easy, and now it's even worse.
Yeah,
It's very hard to land an agent. So I left her, and the second agent, this was after 9/11, she kind of flaked away. She just couldn't deal with what she experienced because she was in New York, like most agents are. And so then the third agent, I got her when I went to some kind of not convention, a conference. So I got her and she seemed okay. But then I realized when you wanted to talk to her on the phone, we go to the secretary. And the secretary decides if it's worth pushing you along to talk to her. And that kind of bothered me. And then I heard that she wasn't paying her clients royalties. She was fired. But the fourth one that got me published, the junior agent there, I guess intern, he was his degree was in medieval literature. And I thought, okay, because I'm giving up on agents at this point. I said, okay, I'm gonna send it to him. And I don't care. I don't care if he reads it. I don't care if he likes it. I just don't care. This is it. And we had an ongoing conversation for almost a year about this book, and he was interested in the book. He wanted some changes, and I made the changes to prove that I could, and I was cooperating. And finally, after almost this year, I said, "So there's a phrase I could say, but I don't think I'm going to." Yeah, that one. And I said, "You know, so you're gonna sign me already, or what?" And he did, so that was successful, but, you know.
I have a slightly different experience because mine is Hollywood based. I'm still with my book agent. It's the only one I've had for my writing, my books. We've been together 10 years. He knows he was an editor himself. He's, you know, so we have the best relationship I've ever had with an agent. My Hollywood experience is not so great. And one thing that was tricky is that we left once when we shouldn't have. We were really pressured into it. An agent literally was stalking us and came on from one of the big agencies, like, you know, you don't get higher than this agent, and really came on really strong. And you know, in retrospect, we would have been better off staying with our other agents. But then we lost one agent to, you know, we had dinner. He was an hour late. The next day, because it was a team, our other agent called and said, "Adam left for CAA." So that's why he was late. He was meeting with his new agency. And we needed a second part of the team. And we kind of felt, again, pressured into taking someone. So I think it's a question, you know, it's an instinctual thing, like they're all saying. And then it's also an expectation thing, like what, you know, you have to be very specific about what you expect and what's realistic and what isn't. You know, I don't like my film to TV agent. I think he's useless. So I'm in the market for another one, which is incredibly hard because in Hollywood, there's, for someone once said, everyone can't wait to give you your second job. Which is, so true. And it's like, there's such a negative attitude. So I really want to stick with my current agent for books because like it works. But what you're saying about personal, back when I was starting out as a playwright, I was in New York and had breakfast with one of my agents and she was like, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Oh my God, there's this guy," and she goes, "Stop. I am your agent. I am not your friend or your therapist."
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
it was such a great lesson. And that's how, it is. And I've seen so many times when people got really close, they're going with the agent, well, then they break up with the agent and everyone is devastated. The agent is like, "Well, I thought we were friends," or the agent dumps them. That's the other one. It's like, "I thought we were friends."
Mm.
The other thing is, when you get an agent, you figure that the agent's job is to get you a contract, and that is so. But as time has moved on, I had a conversation with my agent, a couple of years ago, and I said, I've got the contracts, we can continue to get the contracts, but you guys have to do more than just that. Because once we're established, we need you to kind of be a little bit on the publicist side. You need to do that, because what's keeping us from, getting more sales of those books, of those contracts that you got. So I think agents' jobs really need to evolve more into doing more for the published author. Suggesting different ways to sell or suggesting some ads and things like that. I mean, I'm on Social Security now and I can't go to BoucherCons anymore and all these other things and spend all that money to go to conventions. I just can't afford to. So,
We gotta wrap
I
this
need
up.
I need my agent to do more.
Do we have time for one more question? Okay, well, there's two questions, so make them quick. You go first.
For those of you who have switched agents or acquired a second agent in a different genre, can you talk about the mechanic of the search for the second agent? Is it precisely the same as what you did in acquiring the first agent?
Okay, so
How do you manage it?
so the question is, how, if you do leave an agent and you're, changing genre and everything else, how do you manage finding your second agent? Is it the same process that you did the first time? Mine wasn't. I was published by that
Yeah.
time. So therefore you have credits that show something differently, but you still have to find an agent that likes what you write. And that's not always possible. My current agent won't represent my suspense, but she will represent my mysteries. Okay, so I do my suspense myself because I'm tired of this. My first agent left the business to become a therapist.
Oh, great.
Well, when I got my second agent, I knew who I wanted, and so I contacted her because she had told me that she liked my books. And she said, "What I want you to do is I want you to contact some other agents. I want you, but I want you to be happy. I want you to talk to some other agents and make sure that I'm the right one," which I really appreciated, and we had a nice long relationship.
Again, I'm gonna go to the difference between Hollywood and books. In Hollywood, you have your agent and you're sneaking around behind their back. This is true, and I'm not being, and because the other agent is either, approaching you or you're approaching them, and then you are already in line, you've already lined up that agent when you dump your other agent. In books, you're supposed to, the form is to leave your agent, be agentless, and do your agent search, which terrifies me.
Yeah.
So I may be with my agent for life. But if you are looking for an agent, if anyone's looking, I tell everyone query tracker.
Yes.
I did that. That was how you start your agent search.
Mhm.
Reading the back of books to see the books you like, to see who is being thanked. Because we always thank our agents. So if it's like, "Oh, I love Jen McKinley's book. Oh, who's her agent?" Making a list from of the agents of the people whose work you like, and then query tracker is fantastic.
And
Publishers Marketplace is the other way to
Yes,
look. You can
yes.
search for the agent, you can search for the writer that you like, you see who they represented. One more question here.
Yeah, all of you are lucky enough to actually have a. But the publishing world has changed enormously, and there's self-publishing, there are a lot of small presses or even medium-sized presses that don't require agents. And what is your advice to authors who are either starting out or who want a more traditional publisher but don't have agents? I mean, if you were going to do it all over again right now, would you be still seeking an agent, or would you be taking a different path?
Okay, so the
Great
question is, and I'm going to try to condense that. It's a question of, if you didn't have an agent, would you still take the traditional path right now of having an agent? Or would you go self-publishing? Would you go to smaller places that will take you as an author without being represented? And
Can I
that's a
start with
difficult-
this
Yeah,
one?
sure.
I would absolutely have an agent. I would always, because they know those contracts. I look at those, I can negotiate a contract for television, especially a show deal in my sleep. I can negotiate it for someone else. I just know them. But a pilot deal, a book deal, it's like a foreign language. And so I would absolutely try to get an agent first. I think self-publishing is a skill set that is, to do it well, is a skill set I don't necessarily have, and I respect anyone who has it. And also, it's the same with traditional publishing, is like, people, you can shit on your pardon my language, you can shit on your traditional publisher, but they're doing stuff you don't even know about. They're getting you into the libraries, they're getting you to, to Kirkus, even if they, or Publishers Weekly, even if they say no. So a lot of times it looks like they're not doing a lot, but they're doing things you may not even know about.
Right.
And you want the imprimatur of a publisher behind you. You want to be in that catalog. That catalog goes to libraries and bookstores. And that is saying to these libraries and bookstores, oh, this person is worthy. It doesn't matter. I mean, self-publishers, I self-publish, and I will continue to be self-publishing right now on my 2 series. Because I'm not going with my separate house anymore. And you have to, I mean, self-publish later, once you're established,
Mhm.
once they know you, the bookstores know you and the libraries know you, because you can't get a foothold. It's discovery is the hardest thing to do, is to get your book discovered.
Right.
And that's what you need.
Okay. We're gonna wrap it up.
The answer to your question is a 2-hour talk. I have given this talk, and what I would say is, you first look at your goals, what it is that you want out of being published. And that's the first thing you have to look at, because then you decide whether you're gonna want to be traditionally published or do it yourself, or only e-published. This is a long, long talk. Yeah.
Nancy's gonna wrap this up, ladies. Thank you so much.
I want to thank all of you for coming out today. And those of you who are here for the first time, we meet once a month here, usually the first Sunday of every month. There are a couple changes when we have Mother's Day or there's a holiday. So check the calendar, sistersinprimela.com under events. Be sure you register for our next Sunday, September 7th meeting. I think that's right. On the events section of Sisters in Crime. Look for our speakers bureau list out. And don't forget, Wednesday, August 13th, we've got a big night up at Skirball. So there's a lot of talent in this room. If you're looking to meet with other people who are doing what you're doing and talk about it and support each other, come on out again and join our group. We look forward to it.
And
Thank you so
Books
much.
in the park.
Debbie.
Yes.
And I'm so sorry. Wait, most importantly, how can I forget? Our authors here today who've done a wonderful job. Their books are for sale and they're signing in the back of the room. Please go back, help yourself, visit, get signed books, meet. and
Take
greet.
my swag.
Take Ellen's swag, yes. Thank you so much. And
Thank
we'll
you.
get next month. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys did great. You did great. Yeah, you did great.
Anybody trip.
Oh, Jeri, that's hilarious.